Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I would like to practice painting, so I have my sketchbook out and I'm going to try to do some low pressure artworks. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in, then feel free to follow along and let's get started. I would like to take a moment to appreciate my nails, which were done by Claude by Lily. I'll have her stuff linked in the description. And yeah, like, aren't they just gorgeous? I am obsessed with this summer vibe and the gingham. She did such a lovely job. And that little chip, that's all my fault, so please ignore that. That's all my fault. So today's session is not about doing a amazing job. I am just going to try my best to learn something and to grow. I've picked a couple of stock photos off of Pixabay and I'm going to try to paint them, but I chose really complicated ones for a good reason. I mean, I think it's a good reason anyways. I want to see if I can simplify things a little bit more because I feel like that's a skill that it needs to be practiced, and I just can't quite get things to... I haven't quite harnessed that skill in the way that I would like to yet. So hopefully this can help me also kind of figure out my style a bit more when it comes to doing landscapes. I feel like I have a style that I enjoy with characters, but with landscapes I kind of go back and forth between things. I am a style hopper, but I would like one that's kind of like mine rather than one that I'm hopping between, if that makes any sense. So I think I'm gonna start with like a watercolor sort of base, and then I'll build it up. I'm using my Winsor & Newton gouache paints, so I will be getting thicker after this, but I want to start off with just a general idea. I'm not doing a sketch first. I think that I'll get overwhelmed with all the details. I'm just blocking things out. Trying to use a color story that's a little different than very different than the stock photo that I'm using as a reference. Even though it's spring right now, I thought it would be pretty as kind of a fall scene. At least I think that's what I'm gonna do. Create that light source. I think it'll be more on the side here. Oh, maybe a little too much water. Maybe I should have done that in a different color. Should probably be switching to another brush for this, for the small details. Okay, now I just need to decide which colors go where. I'm going to risk this greenery being more of like this orangey kind of color because it's supposed to be a fall scene. but I am definitely scared of doing this. The scene, the stock photo is not fall, so I'm kind of going just based off of instinct. We are so deep in the ugly phase right now. I wouldn't be surprised if you were questioning if I had a plan, but I swear I do. I tend to not make my darks dark enough. And also, I want to be shading in like these big patches to try to stylize it, but I always go back to this weird detail stippling thing. I haven't spoken in a while because I'm so unbelievably focused right now. I'm gonna switch to a different brush to try to do some thin foliage, sort of mossy stuff in the front here, and proceeds to get too distracted to talk again. I don't know if you can tell yet what this is going to be, but I think I still will leave it a surprise. Oh my, that was a lot of water. I do that every time. Just wanted a little bit of the sky's color in there, but I think it might be time for the part that I've been avoiding and I haven't been telling you guys. Okay. I don't think that this turned out how I was planning with wanting to simplify things. It's not exactly how I was imagining, so I want to not be feeling pressure about this going perfect this next step, hopefully. Yes. Just be easy on myself. All right, so I am going to end this painting without fully finishing it because I could add a lot of detail to the trees and make this background look a lot better, but I don't think that I achieved what I wanted to with it, so I think it's just time to move on, and if I want to come back to it eventually, then I will. And what I want to achieve is just getting into the rhythm of doing things a different way, but I tackled this the same way that I usually do. So, after just adding a little bit foliage back here, I will be finished. And move on to the next. Okay, I warmed up the tape, so hopefully we get a smooth tape peel. Perfect. I still should be a bit more careful than I'm being, but yeah, if you didn't know, if you warm up the tape, it'll be less likely to rip off your paper. Nope. Oh, see, should have been careful. All right, now moving on to the next one. I think that I'm going to be using a lot more blues, so it's not really going to be a matching spread, but again, this is for learning, so I'm doing what I gotta do. So I'm going to start from my light source and try to go from there. I didn't mean to put blue on the bottom here. This brush feels like it's a little too big for my purposes, but I wanted to try using a square brush. I just can't quite get the detail that I want. I want it to get darker as it comes forward because my light source is here, but I also would like to get some foliage back here before I start doing the trees up front. Okay, this is where things might not go as I hope, so I'm a bit nervous. I don't think it's quite dark enough or different color enough, but I don't know. We're going to be putting stuff in front of it, so it doesn't quite matter what the bottom, where the bottom ends. I don't think. This is all going to be foliage. What even lighter ones over here by the light source. I am very much trusting the process right now. Hopefully, it'll be worth it. Not angular enough sometimes. It's more like blobs than foliage. Okay, now I want really dark trees in the front. So I'm gonna try to get a dark blue if I can. Oh, no. Did not mean to do that. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Okay, now I'm going to try to lighten the darkest trees these two because I basically used black, but for the rest of them, I'm going to shade them darker. I forgot about the path, so I'm going to try to shade that now. Without touching the trees too much. I wish I would have stuck to that style I was talking about earlier where I block out the shading and add texture later, but not too much texture. I feel like this is a lot of texture. So I put some yellow in the light source area. And I am a klutz today. And added some yellow along some of the foliage to make it look like the light is really coming through. So now I think it's time to create more foliage, like little bushes and maybe flowers if it fits. Just like earlier, I'm creating a shape first and adding detail later. Okay, so this is way more of what I was going for, and now I'm just going to try to add a few flowers, and then I think I'll be all finished. I could call this done right now, but I would like to add a whimsical element because I can't help myself. All right, so this one turned out a lot more like what I was going for than this one. That is because I wanted to have a style and I wanted to simplify things, and I think that I achieved that here. Let me give you a little close-up. So I'm glad that this learning experience turned out, and thank you so much for sticking around for the whole thing. I make videos every single Sunday and shorts every Friday, so I would appreciate if you'd come back. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.